Alright, what is going on, my dudes? We are back here today with the first champion of 2023 entering MCOC. We got the Absorbing Man, and look at that absolutely giant ball that he has. That's a big, big ball. I hope somebody out there is just listening to this and not watching. And just hear me talk about that ball. It's rather large. All right, so we're starting 2023 off with a bang with this guy, man. Now, this guy is definitely super duper cool. He can do a lot of things, and he has an absolute metric crap ton of text in his abilities. And in this video, just like always, we're going to go over everything that you need to know. We're not going to go over everything because there's a lot of text. If you want a super duper in-depth video on this guy, hey, go check out the deep dive, okay? Because it goes pretty in-depth over literally every single word, okay? So let's start jumping in today, man. So he is a Mystic champion, right? So as it goes, he's immune to Armor Break and Armor Shatter debuffs. Now, interestingly enough, these are the matchups where he is going to shine the brightest. When they're fighting against defenders who knows where he's going to be getting a bunch of Armor Breaks on him, he's going to be a little bit busted, okay? So he definitely gets a big benefit from those Cosmic champions who put that on you. Now, also, he reduces the duration of the opponent's Indestructible, Immortality, Unstoppable, and Unblockable buffs by 90%. That's really good against a bunch of different Cosmic champions. For example, obviously Hercules, right? You got the little Indestructible at the end, it goes away. It's really good against Hulkling. It's really good against Annihilus. You know, you got that Unstoppable. So it gives you that really nice, easy opening against those champions. Now, he has two forms, okay? He has his Black Uru form, which is the silver form, and he has the Magma form, which is this kind of like red and black form. Now, you activate these in two different ways. The special one activates the Black Uru form, and the special two activates the Magma form. Now, these do two different things, okay? The special one, the Black Uru, you're going to be immune to bleed and shock, and you're also going to get a very large amount of physical resistance. On top of that, you're going to be doing a burst of physical damage on every single hit. Now, the special two, you're going to be immune to Incinerate, Cold Snap, and Frostbite. Okay, you're also going to get a very large amount of energy resistance. These resistances are about 8,600 at rank 3, 8,800 at rank 4. For reference, Bishop is around like half of that. That's really, really solid. This is in the range of like Guardian's energy resistance, and he has it in his base kit. Also, you do a burst of energy damage, right? Now, he has something called a refined form, and the refined form happens when you enter that form while you're already in it, right? So you get additional effects in the refined form, and for the Black Uru form, you essentially can do critical hits on the opponent's block, right? And you trigger your personal burst of damage through their block, essentially, right? But for the special 2, it's actually pretty darn solid over here. So contact with the opponent inflicts an Incinerate passive, dealing 1,000 energy damage over 1 second, okay? So not too bad. Every hit you're getting some additional damage, okay? So he's got two forms, right? He starts always in the Black Uru form unless you use your free fight to start in the Magma form. So you start right in a form by default. You don't have to activate it. You got your form going. Now, the biggest key to playing Absorbing Man, all right, is to keep your forms paused. So look at the last line here. Interrupting an opponent's basic attack with a light attack pauses the current form for 6 seconds. Now, this can be interrupting their heavy attack, their medium, or their light, okay? So you got that big physical resistance, so you can block, bait out a heavy, counter with a light attack, keep your stuff paused. When you do this, you're going to put a vulnerability passive on the opponent. Now, this is going to, of course, increase your damage, right, as you go along. Right here, up at the top, this is where he's going to excel. Whenever a buff ends on the opponent or Absorbing Man is immune to a debuff, the current form pauses for 3 seconds. So you don't have to light intercept. You don't have to worry about keeping your forms paused because they're just always paused, right? So that's going to be where this guy shines the brightest. So he's going to be one of those champions who's certainly usable, like in most places, really. He's definitely going to be solid to use in a lot of places, but he's really going to shine in those areas where you can just play him like a normal champion, and then you get that big payout without really having to work for it, you know? So that's definitely something that's pretty solid in those matchups. So these refined forms, this is when you activate the form while it's already active, okay? On top of, you know, the stuff we talked about, additionally, your special attacks become unblockable. So don't fight Nova with him. but you can, but just don't go into refined form. So also, personal burst of damage benefit 300% of Absorbing Man's critical damage multiplier when he lands a critical hit and cannot have the ability accuracy modified. On top of that, so blocking a hit reduces the opponent's ability power rate by 72% until Absorbing Man stops blocking, and that power denied is transferred to Absorbing Man. So it's a good ability. My only issue with it is that, it's, good for like, Arcus or Hyperion, right? And so you're going to be blocking a hit, and then more often than not, they're going to like charge a heavy attack, so you have to stop blocking. So it kind of like cuts their power off for like, a momentarily, but more often than not, you do have to stop blocking. I feel like it's a good idea there. It's just in practicality, more often than not, I feel like this isn't the most useful thing. It's nice to have in those matchups, don't get me wrong, like you're going to be able to cut their power off a bit and gain some yourself, which is definitely nice, but I wouldn't rely on this for like power control, you know what I mean? Like don't rely on this to take down like a giant Hyperion and Alliance 4 or something like that. But it's definitely nice to build up your power a bit. And what's actually solid about this though is that sometimes you like want to counter like their heavy attack with your special attack, right? Let's say you're at like 75% of a bar power, all right? You could be doing this and it'll push you up just enough, and when they throw that heavy attack you can counter, and now you're at the special. So it definitely has its uses. It just it's not going to be able to do some power control with it in a very high effective way. Just keep that in mind. Don't rely on that for that kind of stuff. So the next thing we have to talk about are his morph charges. So when you refresh or change your form, you gain morph charges equal to the amount left that was on your form. You'll see what I'm talking about when I actually start the fights here. Also, this is where the big ticket is. Whenever Absorbing Man is immune to an armor break or an armor shatter debuff, he gains 90 morph charges. So those cosmic fights, right, where you're going to be having all the armor breaks on you, I mean, this guy just like goes off, dude. He goes off. And don't worry, I'm absolutely going to be showing you all of this. So the morph charges, what you do with them. Performing a medium, light, medium combo with at least 150 morph charges, more often than not, unless you're in one of those matchups, that's going to require 2 special attacks to get to, 2 special ones, okay? Or activating a special attack at max charges consumes all charges to refine the current form and inflict one 30-second vulnerability passive with 2150 potency for every 150 charges consumed. That's a big vulnerability passive. So you can see, right, you're going to get pretty much 4 of those, right, when you have the 600. So if you're going up against those armor breaks, you're going to have like 8,000 plus potency vulnerability on the defender right away. That's a lot of damage, and you have all the extra bursts of damage, and you'll see it in action in just a moment, but I think you could see why those are like his ideal matchups. Last thing we're really going to talk about here is this heavy attack, okay? The attack gains a little bit of critical rating if the opponent's stunned, but you really want to use this when the defender is not stunned. So countering their special attack or countering their heavy attack with the first hit of your heavy attack, and then chain that into a special 2 or a special 1, because activating a special attack after the first hit lands applies the bonus critical rating, which is quite high, to the entire special and grants 30 morph charges, okay? Now, one last thing we're going to talk about, I'm actually not showing this in the video. However, the special 3 is definitely a bit useful as well. You can gain an indefinite cruelty passive, increasing critical damage rating by 113, and if a refined form is already active, you gain a second one of those. On top of that, activating the most recent form in its refined state pauses it for 15 seconds. While the pause is active, you gain 8,600 critical rating. So that certainly increases your damage quite a bit, and when you stack up those 5 cruelty passives, it definitely makes them pretty viable for stuff like Labyrinth and like those big endgame Everest content. However, I don't love him in those things, so I wouldn't really want to use him in there. So more often than not, I do stay away from the special 3. However, if you don't like the light intercepting and stuff like that, getting to the special 3, right, and then building up to a special 1 and using the special 1 could do a lot of damage and certainly make him viable for you if you don't love the playstyle. That's more so recommended for this guy, right? So I'll tell you what, instead of going right to Deadpool, going right to vanilla Winter Soldier, right, what we're going to do first is we're going to go and show you Absorbing Man in an ideal matchup where he's meant to be played, right? So he's one of those champions where like he's going to like almost hard counter some of these defenders, right? Some of these tough, annoying defenders, but at the same time, he's also still usable elsewhere in vanilla fights, right? Very similar to like a Rintrah kind of thing. You know, he's like busted against those cosmic defenders, but is also usable in vanilla fights as well. So we got this Terrax, right? Big Terrax in Act 7. It's unlimited power, Mystic Ward, Mystic Curse, Buffet, all these things, right? We're going to activate the Magma form because we're going to be get the energy resistance. Again, the energy resistance Magma form, but also we're always immune to armor break. So watch, okay? We're in our Magma form and we're pausing it. We're pausing it because look at these armor breaks, man. I mean, come on, dude. Come on. Look, we're getting our morph charges up. Like, we're getting our morph charges up. We're actually getting some bad RNG with the armor breaks here. Now we're going to be going for some light intercepts, right? To just gain some more of those vulnerability passives. Now we're at 600. So we're going to go for a medium, light, medium. And we put the big vulnerabilities on. We're going to counter it to special too. And look at the burst of red damage. And this guy has about like what? 400 plus thousand health, right? And we already have another 150 morph charges, so we could put even more vulnerability on, right? I mean, like, this is what I'm talking about, where it's like, this is an ideal situation for him, where like Terrax and those other champions, those put the armor breaks on you, ideal situation. So that's the ideal situation. Now let's take a look at a more vanilla matchup, okay? So let's start Deadpool. So let's say you're using him in Battlegrounds or War or something, right? And you don't have the benefit of having expiring buffs. You don't have the benefit of having armor breaks, right? So you have to light intercept like this, or you have to counter his heavy attack with your light attack. Now at this point, bait out a special, go for the heavy attack into the special one. And as you can see, the damage is still definitely decent, but after the first special one, I'm not at 150 morph charges yet. So I'm gonna have to do one more special one before I can put that big vulnerability on the defender. But as you can see, even without it, we're doing some decent damage here, all right? Now we're at 273. We can go ahead and use a medium, light, medium combo right here. And now, one thing I do want to point out, when I'm about to go medium, light, medium, I'm not too concerned with like keeping my forms paused, because the medium, light, medium is going to activate the most recent form in the refined state. So it's going to like kind of do the same thing as if I kept it paused the entire time, okay? So you're going to see right here, when we go for the medium, light, medium, we're going to get our form refined, right? And now at this point, we're going to go for the heavy attack, and we're going to do a decent bit of damage on this guy, right? Yeah, so definitely solid. It's not as insane as it was against Terrax, right? But that would be busted if he did that everywhere, right? He has just few matchups where he could do that. Another great one is Annihilus. Beautiful new stage, by the way, right? It's really lovely to look at. But anyway, Annihilus, just like, I don't know, listen, I am not good at fighting Annihilus. I hate him. And this is just a prime example. I am not good at fighting this guy. I'm messing up like crazy, and I'm fully ramped, right? So this was like, you know, my one take on Annihilus, and I was like, you know what? I feel like a lot of people are in the same boat where they hate fighting Annihilus. What happens is he has these weird animations. You know, I was trying to like go for some light attacks and everything, and now I'm like, he's hitting my block. He's catching me on the dash back. He's putting these arm breaks on me. I have this physical resistance of 8,600 at rank 3. He's hitting my block. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. And what's so great about what he does, watch, his unstoppable, gone. Reduces it by 90%, right? So watch, the unstoppable, gone. So what you can do is you can literally get in the corner wherever, and you can counter his heavy with your heavy into your special one. And the burst with the, and now keep in mind, when you're at 600 morph charges, you're going to put all 4 vulnerability passives on the defender. So basically that's going to do your medium, light, medium for you, okay? So yeah, at this point, it's just going to be like Nuke City, man. So every burst of damage at rank 3, you know, no suicides or synergies, nothing like that, right? 16,000 passive damage on each hit, right? Assuming you crit, and you have like 18,000 critical rating. So Annihilus, Terrax, 2 of the best matchups for him. 2 really annoying defenders, right? Let's go ahead and take a look at him. Another vanilla matchup, Captain Marvel, where he has a little bit more time to ramp up, right? So he ramped up a little bit against, we fought Deadpool, but there was no ramp up there, right? It's like, all right, so he's dead. All right, let's keep it moving. We're gonna keep our things paused here. Her animations are actually okay for keeping his stuff paused, right? You can go ahead and bait out our heavy attack like that. You can go for a heavy attack into the special one like that, okay? Not too bad. We're going to bait out a heavy attack again, go in for the light attack. He has a very nice reach on the light attack. He has a very decent reach on the heavy attack, but the light attack reach is very nice because you can like kind of tap the screen there, and you're going to just really get in, and you're going to be just very solid on the reach for the light attack, which I like, which is great. It's important for him, especially nice physical resistance there. But yeah, here again, I'm not stressed about keeping it paused because I'm going to go medium, light, medium, right? But I guess I paused it. Cool. Great. Why did I do that? I just want to build it up a little bit more. What am I doing? What am I doing here? There we go, medium, light, medium. You love to see it. We wasted about 10 seconds there, right? Here we got the big vulnerability, and as you can see, we're doing about close to 10k, 9,300 give or take, right, on the extra burst. There is a nice 12k burst, right? Here we're up to 11.5k because we went medium, light, medium again, and guess what? We're gonna do it again right here. We have some big vulnerability passives on this lady right here, okay? And we're gonna build up to a special one, right? But we're doing 15k bursts on our light attacks also there, you know. So this is where the damage starts really building up when you really take advantage of those medium, light, medium vulnerabilities, right, as you keep going. Now personally, I really enjoy a nice big payoff. So when I play this guy, I personally tend to get too close to like 450, 600 of the morph charges before I go for medium, light, medium. But at the end of the day, what I did in this is definitely going to have a nice juicier result throughout the fight, because they're going to be having that vulnerability on them, just doing more damage. You're going to be probably killing them sooner, man. You know, that's definitely a solid way to go about it. Now, we showed Terrax, we showed Annihilus, right? We've showed some vanilla matchups as well. Obviously, this guy is very usable in a bunch of places. I'm going to show you some more Cosmic Defenders that I do like him quite a bit for. One of them actually is Null. He's kind of fun against Null. Amazing start. We're going to keep it in. We're going to keep it in here. Amazing start. But what's so great about Null is Null puts 10 armor breaks on you on his special too, and the spacing is perfect for this. It's perfect for that, man. So he instantly max ramps you, which is kind of crazy, man. Now Hulkling as well, he's great for. He's really great for. I believe in the deep dive, the rotations against Hulkling, it shows a bunch of different ways to fight him actually. Now what's great about it is that you're going to notice the indestructible is gone. It's just gone right away. His unblockable is just, it's gone right away. There, he's dead already, you know. Another Cosmic Champion, right? For example, Surfer puts 3 armor breaks on you, right? Surfer, of course, not the worst defender, but just an example where, like, there are so many Cosmic Champions who put armor breaks on you that you might not realize, right? So for example, Surfer is actually a pretty common Battlegrounds champion. Many people have Surfer in their deck, and very often, depending on the meta, he is placed on defense, right? Sometimes, depending on how the draft ends up. So if you happen to have an Absorbing Man there, right, and they put a Silver Surfer on, or if there's a Silver Surfer in War on Hazard Shift or something like that, man, you can go in and you could purposely bait out the heavy attack. So especially when it comes to like class relationships and hard counters and stuff like that, I feel like he does a very solid job at countering those Cosmic Champions who put armor breaks on you to punish. Now, of course, there are a lot of Mystic Champions who punish armor breaks in different ways. For example, Dragon Man puts degen on you, Rintra gets increased attack rating. I really like that one that way, right? But this is the same kind of thing where, you know, it's the Mystic versus Cosmic. Cosmic puts armor breaks on you, and in those matchups, he's going to be really good. You know, there's no denying that. Now, I don't think everyone's going to love him in those vanilla matchups, because at the end of the day, not everybody's going to love to light intercept. Not everyone's going to love to bait heavies and counter with lights. It's just going to be the type of playstyle that's not going to be for everybody, and that's okay. So if you pull this guy, he can still be a solid Terrax counter for you. He can still be a solid Vision. I had a Vision Arcus fight. I had actually a really solid Vision Arcus fight, and where is it? Here it is. Let's watch it. Oh my god. So this is actually thermostat as well. Some utility, right? So thermostat is if you get to 20, it puts an incinerate on you. If you get to 20, it puts a cold snap. If you put it, whatever it is. It's just the node where it goes up and down, and there's cold snap and there's incinerate. Doesn't matter, because he's immune to both of those debuffs in his magma form. So we're actually going to enter magma form against Vision Arcus, and the strings were broken here, so ignore that. Right? Yeah, there's Carl, good old Carl. DLL was adamant about coding him as Carl. So you can see that. But anyway, right? So Vision Arcus, great, another counter, right? He puts the armor breaks on you like that. You can fight him like that. When you're in the refined form, you can parry you can block and you can steal some of his damage, right? the move here is to go medium, light, medium, enter your refined form, and then take his power. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna have fun and build up to 600, and we're gonna bait out specials from this guy, and then we're gonna nuke him. Okay, that's fun. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have fun by doing that. All right. So one more, and then we're gonna have a good time. All right. So what we're gonna do here is build 600, bait the heavy attack, and oh my goodness. Yeah. Right. So here's the thing. When it comes to like immunities, the guy has got him, right? There's no denying the utility aspect there. He's good against the unblockable, unstoppable, all that stuff. When it comes to immunities, man, and the resistances are kind of busted. 8600, 8600 energy and physical, depending on what you need, and you can change mid-fight. A little busted, not gonna lie, very powerful. But anyway, you can be immune to so you get immune to bleed and shock, right? So like hazard shift, bleed, shock, and more. It just turns it off. It turns it off, man. And the debuffs are gonna pause it. You don't have to light intercept there. You know what I mean? So yeah, he's gonna turn that off. It's gonna be very valuable, right? You're just immune to that node. Now, on top of that, you are also immune to Incinerate, Cold Snap, or Frostbite, right? With this one. But on top of that, you also get the big energy resistance. So you're going to be like not taking damage from the shock. So you're kind of like also pseudo immune to shock in the special too as well. So it's a lot of immunities and resistance type things going on. Now his sig ability, man, up here, when you consume your morph charges, right, you gain a non-stacking regen passive, which is really, really nice for when you're blocking all those hits, right? On top of that, his omnimorph forms last 40% longer. This is it's very nice to have. I find that they still feel slightly short if you're not in those ideal matchups and you can't get the light intercepts in. So he definitely will benefit from a high sig. However, he doesn't need it, right? Especially for those key matchups. Just keep that in mind. Now, his synergies. He also goes immune to poison with I-Bomb and Hulk. Pretty nutty. On top of that, he also makes a lot of these champions solid as well. So with Titania over here, Titania goes immune to bleed effects. And you guys know me, I'm in love with Titania in so many different ways. I love that champion so much. Love her. But yeah, he gains medium and heavy attacks, gains 600 critical damage rating. That's really solid for him because that's how a lot of his burst damage is calculated. The Worthy over here, he gets an armor break debuff, which is definitely solid. Max stack of 5. Good luck stacking 5 of those, though, man. Good luck stacking 5 of those in 9 seconds. I'll tell you that much. But yeah, definitely increases damage a bit. Thor gets an armor break on his heavy attack, a decent armor break. Thor Drain Foster gets degen instead of shock for countering those shock immune cosmics. Over here with Daredevil Hell's Kitchen, personal buffs last 7 seconds longer. That's nice for him. And also Absorbing Man gains some additional block proficiency and critical rating, depending on his combo meter. Over here, great synergy with Rogue. The timer for Rogue's replicated buffs is paused during the opponent's special attacks, and Absorbing Man reduces the duration of non-damaging debuffs other than stuns by 50%, so more pseudo-immunity resistance things. And then over here, Absorbing Man gains immunity to poison, and Omniforms last 3 seconds longer. I actually did not realize that. That's very nice. That's solid just overall. The 3 second longer is great, and also the immunity to poison is great, you know? I-Bomb gains energy resistance for each poison on himself, and he already has physical resistance, so that makes I-Bomb even tankier. Hulk Immortal, personal immortality effects gain 20% ability accuracy. It makes him usable in Alliance War, actually. Get around Assassin a little bit. So yeah, that's Absorbing Man. That's how he works. That's what he can do. Those are some of his ideal matchups. That's how to use him in ideal matchups and non-ideal matchups, man. Too long and didn't read. If you can't take advantage of his immunities and armor breaks, what you want to do is you want to interrupt the opponent's attacks in any way with a light attack, and then you want to bait out their heavy or special attack and use your heavy attack and cancel into your special 1 or special 2, depending on what you need, right? But if you have those armor breaks, or you have those immunities, you kind of just 5-hit combo your way up and then do the heavy attack thing, right? You always want that heavy attack thing, man. You want that increased critical rating. It's very nice. But anyway, that's it for Absorbing Man. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. The reception to him seemed to be quite nice since, his abilities and the deep dive and everything went out. Everyone seems to be liking him quite a bit, so I'm interested to hear what you guys think about seeing some actual gameplay of him, like, full fights and everything. So let me know what you think in the comment section below, and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss, Baron's emo coming out soon enough, right? So yeah, I'll be seeing you around, man.